Hello, good evening. It's another Friday. This time we are blessed by the rain, and you're welcome to Facts of the Week here on Ghana's #1 CTV. We are live on Facebook, my CTV GH. My name is Valentina Ofori Afriyie. Facts of the Week is supported by Fairnut. Wood is for life. Great furniture is made by Fairnut, and also Aquaba natural mineral water, quenching thirst and nourishing the nation with pure, clean, refreshing Aquaba natural mineral water. On Facts of the Week, every Friday from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. on Ghana's #1 CTV, we separate the fact from perception, the wheat from the chaff, and propaganda from the facts. This week, a lot of things happened. The appointment by President Mahama of some 7 justices to the Supreme Court, and also a matter of the suspension of the Chief Justice, will not go away anytime soon. The minority and some minority political parties are planning to hit the streets on Monday, 5th May 2025, to demonstrate against that suspension. The Ghana Bar Association this week issued a statement calling the president's action unconstitutional. Is it really unconstitutional? And is it the first time the president is appointing some justices to the Supreme Court? Some say it is padding. Some say it is politically motivated. What are the precedents? What are the facts? That's what we seek to do here tonight on Facts of the Week by my guest, lawyer Sadat Haruna Al-Hassan. He is a private legal practitioner. He's joined me here. Lawyer, good evening and welcome.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me around.
And we are hoping to also be joined by Roger T.D. Williams, a researcher as well. He's been held up by the rain. Hopefully he'll join us before the program ends, and then we'll discuss all these issues. You are free to join us with your comments on my CTV GH on Facebook, or send us a message on the WhatsApp number 020-066-8486. Remember to include your name and where you are texting us from. Let's stay interactive tonight on Facts of the Week. My name is Valentina Ofori Afriyie. You're welcome. If you just tuned in, this is Facts of the Week here on CTV, Ghana's #1. And this week, we are discussing the issues. Let's first of all start with my guest, lawyer Sadat Haruna Al-Hassan, private legal practitioner. President John Dramani Mahama made some appointment to the Supreme Court. 7 justices from the appeal court onto the Supreme Court. There's a whole hullabaloo about the appointment and what it means. On your screen now, you can read it. Pursuant to Article 1442 of the Constitution of Ghana, 1992, the President, His Excellency, has nominated the following. You have Justice Sir Dennis Dominic J, Justice Gabriel Simon Subara, Justice Senyor Jabapa, Justice Kweku Tewiaka, Justice Philip Bright-Nyama, and Justice Japari. There you have it. And that letter was signed by the Secretary to the President, Callistus Mahama, Doctor, is to the Acting Chief Justice, Judicial Council, Accra, and also the attention of His Lordship Justice. So, Council, let's look at these names. Now, after this letter came out, there have been a whole lot of issues about it. You heard Dr. Baumia's campaign spokesperson, Dennis Miracle, saying that, oh, when the NPP also comes, that is what they are going to do, because this is setting the pace to appoint perceived NDC members onto the Supreme Court. There have been a whole lot of issues about these justices. Is this the precedent? Alpenyo, marking the minority leader, has also stated that the 7 justices, nomination of the 7 justices to the Supreme Court, is a Mahama third term agenda.
So, first and foremost, let me indicate that some of the comments made by people, if you look at them critically, you see that some are simply leaving what the Constitution has clearly prescribed to be done by the President. and they are now diving into the arena of politics. That's one thing we must note clearly and distinguish the two. And so when you are acting within the remit of the Constitution, it's different from when you are acting based on political beliefs. And so if somebody makes a statement that the president is appointing these people in a bid for a third term, and then clearly you can see that the person is not being truthful to himself or herself.
Okay, so let's really listen to what exactly he said, and then you can respond whether indeed he's not being truthful or he's speaking on the facts of the case.
Last but not the least, it is obvious that the bold attempt by Mr. President to nominate out of the blue 7 judges to the Supreme Court is the first major attempt at all that they have rehearsed, a third term agenda. All that the NDC is doing, all that our president is doing through the advice of the hawks of NDC is to set a third term agenda for his leadership.
That's the Minority Leader Alexander Kwame Apenyo marking. Well, where he was speaking is that press conference by the minority groups to go on demonstration on Monday to support the Chief Justice. They want the suspension of the Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono reversed. So that was where he made that point. He says the nomination, first of all, is out of the blue, the 7 justices, and also it's towards a third term agenda for John Mahama.
So the question you want to be asking, like I said, if you want to speak sincerely to what the Constitution prescribes, you should be asking the fundamental question that where has the president erred by these appointments? Is it the case that the authority lies with someone else and is simply taking it to do that? Or there's a certain limitation on these appointments that he's simply overarching?
Well, he says the timing, out of the blue. So maybe there are times again, for the appointments.
So again, are there? So let's know. That's what I'm saying. So if you are making such a strong allegation, you should be able to make it on the basis of something that is grounded in law. Because that is the only way you can challenge it. If you are able to establish even an atomic weight of something that is at variance with law, then you can challenge it. But otherwise, I'll just leave it to the politicians to
okay, so let's talk about the law, because this is facts. Let's separate the facts from propaganda or politics.
Exactly.
So is there a law that is supporting this appointment of the president vis-a-vis the timing and even the people who have been appointed to the Supreme Court?
So the fundamental thing that governs this is under Article 146.
Okay.
That talks about appointments, of justices of the Superior Courts. And the president, in doing so, of course, the Judicial Council has a huge responsibility in that, because they will then have to also, advise. And so if they do so, because it is within their arena, and so they know some of the challenges within, in terms of whether they need more or otherwise. And so when they advise, the president feeds on that, and then he makes the appointments in the interest of good governance. Because remember, the judicial service or judiciary is a critical arm of government, without which we naturally cannot have a very peaceful coexistence, even as a state. And so it is important that at any point in time, we play to the rules of the Constitution.
Okay.
And the second issue has to do with whether there's timing to do that.
Okay.
You cannot find a specific provision in the Constitution that says that in February, the president can do such appointments.
Okay.
Or in July, the president can do such appointments. Particularly because there's also nowhere in the provisions of the Constitution that you can see limitation as to appointments. And so if we want to be very sincere to ourselves in terms of these matters, then we should as well be having a national consensus on how we want the appointments to be in terms of number, that is limit, and even the timing. Then that will be a different conversation for us all to have. But to pretend as of moment to assume or to say that there's a specific moment that appointments ought to be made by the president, and that there's even a ceiling to which appointments can be made. Then, I mean, you are, like I said, you are not just being factual to the issues in terms of the legal basis, but you are only doing your own propaganda issues within the space of a political, fault, and that's what I can say about that.
Okay, so you talked about counsel, and in the letter that Dr. Callistus Mahama released, there are aspects that says that attached are their curricula vitae. I trust that the council will expedite action on their considerations. So the president makes the nomination, gives it to the Judicial Council to go through, and then after they are satisfied, then the president will communicate to Parliament.
Exactly.
Where Parliament would go through the process of vetting them, and then when the nominees are approved, then that process is done.
Completed. And so at any point in time, the president is advised on what to do.
Okay.
He doesn't just wake up and start doing things. That's not the procedure. And so if it is not necessary, he wouldn't do it. Just as, I mean, we all witnessed what happened under the previous regime. I mean, there were concerns that the number was even so huge, if you recall. But
there was even the Chief Justice who was rather writing to the president to make some...
I'm getting there. So that's what I'm saying, that if we want to be factual to the issues, especially as lawyers, we must speak in such a way that it reflects the aspirations of the Constitution. If we do so, and for some reason we think that it's no longer going the way we want it, then we must have a national consensus. So we look at it critically and then come again and do something that will reflect our new aspirations. But as it stands, what we have in the Constitution is simply our aspiration. And the president is simply doing everything in accordance with that. Now, back to the issue of the appointments that were made under the previous regime.
Okay.
You note that a number of appointments were made.
Okay.
You could just wake up one morning and then you see that the president has given, or
and on your screen too is some of the comments that were made during that appointment by the previous regime. That's Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and the Attorney General at that time, Godfrey Eboadame, speaking and saying that appointment of more Supreme Court judges will ensure effective justice delivery.
So back to the same point. I mean, we didn't have any problem with that. I mean, naturally, some will have some issues to raise, and most of those issues raised will be more hinged on political lines rather than legal lines. And so, to the extent that they did that, and it was very lawful, which I think the president had the authority to do so or power to do so. The same situation is reflecting today, except that we have a different president in the seat now. That's the only difference. Someone was doing the appointment in the previous regime, and now a new person altogether is doing the same appointment. And so there hasn't been any circumvention of the law. I would have been against it if there were anything or things done contrary to the provisions of the law. And so to the extent that you cannot establish that as a matter of law, then you are only engaging in propaganda, and that's how I would describe it. That's why I'm saying that if at the time the appointments were being done and there was nothing wrong with it, the same people who did the appointments and who were strongly in support of those appointments are the same people now against the appointments. So who is being sincere to himself here? Only in 2024 there was a justification for the need to have more appointments, and rightly so. There were appointments. They went through Parliament. In fact, some appointments raised serious issues in terms of their political experience and qualifications and political leanings,
and even the time they have been in the judiciary.
That's the point I'm saying the experience, because somebody from High Court straight away to the Supreme Court, we have never.
When we have people at the appeals court who've been there for 15 years,
for instance, I mean, and that's why if you look at
Justice Jamafe, for instance, he's been there for. He went to the appeals court in 2010. Justice
said Dennis AJ since 2010, and that's why you can see that sense of feeling, especially for persons he has taught. I mean, he has taught me in law school, and I can understand.
That's why they call him the judge's teacher.
Exactly. So, I mean, he teaches you, and you feel like yes, you are being taught. And so such materials, I've been there for a very long time, but people only express their sentiments because they thought that the appointment wasn't fair to some people who had actually been in the service for long. And
that's what the rule is, seniority.
I mean, it's very important you do that because of the quality of justice delivery that we need as a nation.
As the Supreme Court.
Especially where we are going. The Supreme Court is the apex court. So when it talks, it is the law. That's the magnanimity that should go with that. Once the Supreme Court takes a position on a matter, it is the law. It becomes a law. It binds on itself and other courts, though they can depart, on very necessary grounds when it deems it appropriate to do so. But the point is that appointments should actually be based on merit.
Okay.
But the mixed feeling that we have today, especially coming from other side of the political divide, is just the fact that there has been a change in authority, somebody who can appoint. Otherwise, if they were that meticulous, okay, and critical about the appointments at the time, and were doing same today, there wouldn't have been an issue. But if you fail to do that in time past, and so absolutely nothing wrong with it, when the same thing, I mean, which is even better now, is being done today, you shouldn't have issues with it.
Well, the minority leader will say, let's depart from politics of, let's say, somebody did equality or equalization, somebody did, and so it's fair for someone to also do.
I think I perfectly agree with him to the extent that if he had used the opportunity as a majority leader at the time to preach this and actually practice it, it would have helped. If you imagine you have people like Afeni Markin also in the NDC, they will also be taking that entrenched and strong position like he took at the time.
Yeah.
So it is not actually in his interest to be preaching this. He cannot be the one to advise that things should go this way. They should rather be looking for somebody who will be appealing to the masses, the citizens, right? Somebody whose sense of objectivity can be vouched for by all. But for him to now be singing this way, it means that you are only doing so because you have not lost the opportunity. And you think that if that happens, it will not go against you. That's the only reason why you now want things to come to an abrupt halt and change for the better. In the absence of that, the other side will also make their justifications. And for me, personally, speaking as a lawyer, if you look at the list critically, you see that these are sound individuals who have been appointed. And indeed, if you want to talk about equalization in the words of the minority leader, you see some other people, even on the list, who are generally perceived or seen to be aligned more to the MPP than the NDC. And somebody like Justice Akabuafo, he taught me too. Solid material, very sound personality. He's firm, especially when he takes a position. And before he arrives at a position, you can see the sense of objectivity and the degree of analysis he does before taking a position. And so when I saw it, even though not too long at the Court of Appeal, because it's less than 3 years at the Court of Appeal, and now he's going to the Supreme Court. So to the extent that experience of the various or individual judges matter, how firm the judge also is, and how critical he is, independent-minded, and soundness of his judgment is also taken into consideration. And this is where I think people should be applauding President Mahama, because all those things, I guess, went into or informed his choice of these individuals.
Okay.
Yes.
So again, that's the 7 nominations the president has made to the Supreme Court. But just like we've said, there's always a precedent. So let's look at the list of appointees President Akufo-Addo did to the Supreme Court. So that is 14 on your screen, you have there. So it started with somewhere in 2008. That's where President John Adjei Kufuor made an appointment of Paul Bafo-Bonny, the most senior, that people were thinking that he should have been named the Chief Justice, because if you're looking at seniority, obviously he's been at the Supreme Court longer than all of them. But it went to Gertrude Araba Isaba Saki-Tokonu, who went to the Supreme Court in 2019, appointment by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. That same 2019, there was Avril Lovelace Johnson. There's also Isufu Umoro Tanko Amadu in 2020 by President Akufo-Addo. Henrietta Joy Abna Nyako Mensah Bonsu in 2020 to the Supreme Court by President Akufo-Addo. There's also Emmanuel Yoni Kolendi 2020 by President Akufo-Addo. Then in 2022, Samuel Kwame Adibwe-Siedu appointed to the Supreme Court. Then there's Barbara Frances Akayensu, also 2022, appointment to the Supreme Court by President Akufo-Addo. George Kingsley Kumsin, 2023. There's also Ernest Yao Gaiwu. This is the appointment that raised a lot of controversy. Somebody that people said had stood on the ticket of the NPP as a parliamentary aspirant in an election, and he was appointed, and again, his experience was questioned, that you can't just move from the High Court straight to the Supreme Court without going to the Court of Appeal. He went through vetting and he went to the Supreme Court in 2023. There's also Henry Anthony Kofi, 2024 appointment. Yauda Kwasari, 2024 appointment by President Akufo-Addo, and Richard J. Frimpong, also appointed to the Supreme Court by Akufo-Addo. So of the 14 list that is there, you take out Paul Bafo-Boni, who was appointed by John Ajako Nkofor in 2008. You have 13 people appointed to the Supreme Court by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Now John Mahama goes and appoints 7 people, and everybody is talking about it. This is just the Supreme Court alone. And we know that President Akufo-Addo made a lot of appointments to High Court, Court of Appeal. We'll go through that list. And then I was telling you earlier about a guest who was going to join us. Fortunately, he's here. Roger T.D. Wills is a researcher and financial analyst. Welcome.
Thank you. Wow.
Good to see you. So
good to see you too.
You started before you joined us, and due to the rain and other things that held you up. So our first discussion is what you're on. The appointment by President Mahama, 7 justices to the Supreme Court, and the whole hullabaloo about it. The NPP think that the timing is wrong. Apenyo Marking is saying that this is an agenda because John Mahama wants to go for a 3rd term, and so he's packing the Supreme Court with that. And he's also saying that the appointment is out of the blue.
Okay, thank you. I'm grateful for this opportunity, and then I'll first and foremost extend my gratitude to the people of Ghana and to the leadership of the country, and I think they are on course. They are doing the right thing, and they are serving the people wholeheartedly, because if you look at the way things are going in the country, the hope that was once lost has now been reignited. So I can see some flow, the spirit and enthusiasm of people. Even when we were having the Easter, you could see the movement around. You could see that the average Ghanaian now is having some level of enthusiasm. So therefore, we appreciate what is going on in the country. Yeah, with issue of the appointment, I think the MPP is backing too much.
Oh, why?
Sometimes when you do something wrong and people are taking certain steps, you get frightened, thinking they are going to hunt you or come after you. But then let's not forget that the 1992 Constitution, based on provisions that necessitates or warrants the president to be able to nominate or appoint people to the Supreme Court, that clause or part of the Constitution has not changed. And the president has every right to appoint people. However, there have been political imbiases. And then there have been some sort of political pushing of people onto the bench.
Really?
Yes. If you look at the precedents that Akufo-Addo sets, it is very clear. Most of the people he appointed had political colors. They align with political parties. You get it? And then if they are saying, say, why is Mahama appointing? When Akufo-Addo was appointing, why didn't they stop him? Akufo-Addo, every now and then, he wants to get someone onto the bench. In 2018, he appointed. 2019, he appointed. In 2018, I think he appointed about 4. You see, and this 7 appointment by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is nothing far-fetched from what he has to exercise by his constitutional mandate. So what is it that they are backing about? What is it that they are worried about? If there is any clause in the Constitution which prevents the president from nominating or appointing someone onto the bench, they should bring it out. What part of the law makes it an offense? Everything he is doing is in line with the constitutional provision. And for that matter, there is no way any individual or any person can say, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is doing something wrong. If Afenyomakins, who is a lawyer, is speaking this way, then I think there is a problem. You see, because from where he stands and where he sits, being a legal practitioner, you should be abreast. You see, it's not about coming to throw dust into public eye and raise perceptions about issues for people to point fingers. At this juncture, Ghanaians are well enlightened. The politics of those days, when you come to speak and throw dust into people's eye and create wrong perceptions, they are gone. Does the Constitution give the president the mandate to appoint? Yes. If it does, why are you complaining about his appointments? And why do you feel threatened? That means that they've done something wrong. And because they've done something wrong, the fear that these things would hurt them.
No, they say that they are going to stamp the NDC's agenda for John Mahama's third term.
No. Has John Mahama spoken about going? Has he even? No. He doesn't even have that intention. Is he now the spokesperson of John Mahama? No. He can be, and he is not in the capacity to be. Because such a caliber of his kind would never fit the shoes of being a spokesperson for John Dramani Mahama. I'm saying this, and let me put this clear. He has been to the law school.
He's a lawyer.
He's a lawyer. So why would you use your own perception and assumptions to come out? I don't expect him to come out and give vox statements.
No, but that statement was not started by him. It was actually started by the General Secretary of the party, who is also a lawyer, Justin Frimpong Okodia.
See, MPP, formerly they thought they were full of lawyers. So they realized that no, they don't have the intellectuals. When it comes to human capital, MPP doesn't have it. It's a bunch of people who make noise. The MPP party, as it stands now, is a group of people who like noise making. And then they come and talk and speak anyhow, not bringing any basis of fragmental evidence to support their claims. Where did he hear John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, saying he wants to go for a second term? He has come to work. I mean, a second term in his second successive coming. I get me a third term. He's not interested in doing that. What he wants to do is to make sure that the lovely people of Ghana are well served. And they get what would bring the Ghana we want. You get it? It's not about changing constitutional provisions to satisfy his self-centered or parochial interest. No. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is not like Akufo-Addo. He doesn't seek his parochial interest. You get it? He is driven by the passion to serve the people. And he is driven by the focus to make sure, Ghana gets to where it has to get to. But looking at the people that Akufo-Addo appointed to be on the bench, what do you expect? Afenyomakins and Co, the chairman of the party. No, so has the MPP party become a ring of the judiciary? Is that what we are saying? Is the MPP a branch of the judiciary? Why is, when they were appointing, did you hear any NDC person fighting the system? Did you hear the Ghana Bar Association fighting Akufo-Addo? When there were judicial misconduct, did you hear Ghana Bar Association speaking? No, none of these instances. Even when Parliament and then the judicial, the Supreme Court had it, did you hear them intervening or speaking against some of these things? No. So how come all of a sudden GBA, including MPP, have become one united body fighting one agenda? No, they should go into the street and protest, make noise. They should not forget that their former Chief Justice said, no matter the noise you make, the law is the law. I'm not a lawyer, but with my little understanding in the provisions of the Constitution, the president has every legal right to appoint, and so be it.
Okay.
They can go to hell.
Oh, okay. So that's that's Roger. That's his position. But let me tell you, this is my ruling on this matter. So on your screen is Article 144.
Yeah.
That is talking about the appointment of justices of the Supreme Court or the Superior Courts,
Yeah.
and chairmen and other members of the regional tribunals as well. So, you know, the appointment is done by the president. But is this the first time a sitting president is making an appointment to the Supreme Court? No. From the data we showed you, the 14 appointments, J. Kufuor made one. The 13 was made by President Akufo-Addo. And John Mahama also made one in 2015. And then President Akufo-Addo made the 12. Again, before the 2024 elections, President Akufo-Addo made 2 nominations to the Supreme Court. The nominees were vetted by Parliament. In fact, their vetting, there was some fracas there because the appointment committee was talking about the timing and the scheduling of their vetting. And we had Francis Xavier Sosu, who was in the committee, Constitutional Legal Committee, that had been co-opted into that committee. They had to vote on whether or not the vetting should go on. I remember the chairman of that committee, that was the deputy majority leader at that time, Madam Patricia Appiah, denied him that vote. It created a whole hullabaloo about why they had to go on with the vetting and all that. That vetting was done. They were supposed to have been approved before the 8th Parliament was dissolved. And there was a problem. What was the problem? Because some members of the NPP, members of Parliament, had decided to go independent. So the position of the NPP had changed after the Speaker said that once there's a precedent and if you're in Parliament on the ticket of a political party, you want to go independent, so your seat is vacant. That brought about those whole minority majority, and so once the NDC became the majority, they were not going to approve these nominees because they said as they were speaking, there was no need for those vacancies to be filled. Yeah. And that ended the matter. There was no problem about nomination and all that. So now President Mahama comes to appoint 7, and this is the problem. But again, let me tell you the truth about this propaganda the minority leader sought to put out. Can the Supreme Court justices change the Constitution and make President Mahama go for a 3rd term? No, they can't. Because that is one of the entrenched clauses of the Constitution. Yeah. Every president has 2 terms. If there should be a change on that for a president to go to a 3rd term, the law does not lie in the bosom of the Supreme Court or the justices of the Superior Court. What the law says is that it has to go to Parliament. And Parliament will have to do that. That doesn't end there. It will still have to come back to we the Ghanaians. In the form of a referendum, we have to go and vote and decide whether we want somebody to go for a 3rd term. So it is not true that the justices who have been appointed can change the Constitution to allow John Mahama, President of the Republic, to go for a 3rd term. This is Fact of the Week here on CTV Ghana's #1. We are live on Facebook, my CTV GH. It's supported by Fairnut. Wood is for life. Great furniture is made by Fairnut. They have gifted us this beautiful set. And also by Akwaba Natural Mineral Water, quenching thirst and nourishing the nation with pure, clean, refreshing Akwaba Natural Mineral Water. You can send us your messages on Facebook, my CTVGH, or on the WhatsApp number 020 066 8486.
Excellent furnishing in a real estate business is a great deal for survival. My struggles as a young estate developer were cut short when I discovered Fernart Ghana. With quality furniture made from the finest woods and amazing after-sale service, Fernart Ghana changed my story with every single home I built. It's a one-stop shop that serves the interests of clients with a variety of living room and dining sets, solid wood kitchen installations, wardrobes, doors, cabinets, beds, pergolas, floor parquets, and many other wooden products that will last a lifetime. With Fernat Ghana, all clients are offered the opportunity to customize furniture to their specifications, and the smile on their faces says it all. Thanks to Fernat, now your home can look beautiful with furniture that would last for generations. Visit Fernat Ghana today and share my story. Locate us at Yaniba Estate, Osu, Accra, or call 0303 966 085 or 055 278 4097. Think wood, think Fernat.
You're welcome back to Facts of the Week, the show that separates the propaganda from politics, the truth, the facts, and all that. My guests, Roger T.D. Wells, a researcher, financial analyst, to my right, and then my left, lawyer Sadat Haruna Al-Hassan, private legal practitioner. My name is Valentina Ofori Afriyie. So tonight, we're also discussing the demonstration the minority political parties are planning to embark on Monday, the 5th of May. What is the demonstration about? They want President Mahama's hands off the Chief Justice. They say the suspension of the Chief Justice Gertrude Araba-Isaba Tokonu is unconstitutional. Listen to Henry. Let's watch this video. Henry Nana Boache. They held a press conference. He is the national organizer of the NPP.
Over the past few weeks, President John Dramani Mahama and the NDC government have intensified their relentless crusade against the independence of Ghana's judiciary, an assault that has now culminated into a dangerous and unconstitutional move: the suspension and planned removal of Chief Justice of the Republic, Her Ladyship Justice Gertrude Araba-Isaba Saki Tokuno, by none other than Mr. Mahama himself. The NPP profoundly disapproves and vehemently condemns this blatant disregard for constitutional order, judicial sanctity, and democratic norms. This action, taken under the pretext of Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution, constitute a grave threat to judicial independence, a reckless abuse of executive discretion, and an affront to the rule of law.
Press conference for the Save the Judiciary demonstration, which is scheduled for Monday, 5th May. Henry Nana Boache, national organizer of the NPP. And also, they're not alone. There are some minor political parties that want to join. Because of that, the NPP says they've suspended their thank you tour. They're going to participate. Now, the Ghana Bar Association also issued a press statement. They say John Mahama or President Mahama's suspension of the Chief Justice is unconstitutional. Roger, let me start this one with you.
Yeah. You see, for me, I think I'm of the view that the Ghana Bar Association has become a right wing of the NPP.
Why?
First and foremost, I want to talk about their president. The president of the Ghana Bar Association has or is aligned with the NPP because there are political activities that her presence was there. However, it is so clear that when the country was in need of their voice, especially in times that two different arms of government were battling over legal issues. They should have come clear to say, or to come and then give a view or speak on behalf of, especially the parliament, when the Chief Justice was trying to play gimmicks with our law or playing games with our political, our constitutional provisions. But the Ghana Bar Association went into hiding, slept over it because they were in bed with the NPP. Now, what has caused the recent spike in their voices? Tell me, what is wrong about the suspension of the CJ?
They say it's unconstitutional.
Unconstitutional. Something that the Constitution has made provisions for, the procedural processes that it has to go through has been well, how should I put it? Has been complied with, and you are saying it's unconstitutional. You can only term it unconstitutional when the president wakes up one day and writes a letter to the CJ that you have been suspended. Are you getting me? Because a group of people or a body has written to the president based on this and that, okay, he also goes to the next step, gets the Council of State involved. You get it? And then goes to the next step, that a committee will go into the matter. So therefore, step aside. And these are constitutional provisions. I'm not a lawyer. But those who are at the Ghana Bar Association, they should know better. Are you getting me? They should know better than to come and... Are they now MPP? Are they now MPP?
How? Because
it's like they go and plan with MPP tomorrow, go and do this, we also do this. Because it's like the two of them are backing. They are just making noise. I don't see them as a professional body any longer. Because when we needed them, they didn't speak. Now that the president is doing something right for the country, they want... Tell me, which of Akufo-Addo's appointment did they speak against? When CJ ordered the arrest of the police officer, did they talk? No one came out to come and condemn the acts of the CJ.
Which police officer?
There was a court proceedings. Was it in 2023?
On which matter?
The specific case I've forgotten, but then what do we call it? The prosecutor.
Special prosecutor.
Yes.
Yeah, OSP.
I think when the issue was going on, and then they ordered the arrest of the police officer, the police. I'm coming.
I'm trying to remember. This
So, whilst you are checking, let me come to. So you see, we're talking about the president of the GBA.
Yeah, the president of GBA is a politician. She's an MPP woman.
How is she an MPP woman?
Oh, but look on your screen. That color there, the color there.
But that's her husband. She's just by the husband.
What are you talking about?
Jogate is the husband for the.
Let me tell you, from where she sits,
GBA president.
From where she sits, and then the position she is occupying, she is supposed to be an independent.
But she was elected.
Unbiased.
She was elected. They know where she is. They know who she is, and they voted for her.
Wait, we know that every human is a political animal, but when it comes to your role in society and certain where you stand as a leader, you are not supposed to be politically influenced, especially openly. She is doing open politics. She is on a political platform. So somebody like this, what is he pushing? It's not a political agenda. No, the color she is wearing. So okay, so now the president of the GBA is an MPP. She's an MPP supporter, right, or sympathizer, right? So why is she complaining now? Because she is MPP, she is fighting against the policies he feels NDC is bringing on board. It is so clear. I am in NDC, and I am coming at you because you are taking a decision. He is not coming because she is representing Ghana Bar. She is coming because of her self-centered, moribund, mundane, parochial interest.
Wow.
You get it? tell me, which Ghanaian who is in the right senses would see this woman in political colors?
But they said they voted.
Which election? Which office? Which office has a presidential tag? Don't conduct an election. They conduct an election, but with the profession and where she is sitting as a president of a bar association.
I'm saying that the resolution, their statement, they said it was a resolution voted by 49 lawyers.
Wait, what I'm trying to say is that yes, they voted, but where you sit, you are not supposed to be politically biased. Where she sits, she's not supposed to be political. But this woman is not only biased, she is the embodiment of Kukurudu. Where she is standing, so they'll go and cook the things and come in. If she wasn't biased, when issues were happening in this country, legally, she would have stood up and spoken out and condemned certain acts of the president.
She was not
the then president.
She was not president of the bar association.
No, if she was not, yes, fair enough. But she was part. She was in the APP. She is part of the association. Now that she is president, why is she coming to condemn a good thing in the interest of the country? Why is she coming to condemn? No, you don't need to be president to condemn acts. She doesn't need to be a president of the Ghana Bar Association before she will tell the president that what you are doing is not right.
Citizen.
As a good citizen and as a legal practitioner. See, let me tell you, one time I was driving on our road.
And then you are concluding with your...
I was driving on the Spinters Road, and then you see the newly constructed roads. There is a middle distance that they've made. And then the other car, because the house is here, he decided to go the other way around. When I got there, I parked, and I told him he should go back and go and use the appropriate route. Are you getting me? We are supposed to check each other. So if you are seeing, say, this person, even though you align with him with when it comes to the political interest or ideologies, when he is doing wrong, correct him.
Okay.
And this NPP bunch of lawyers, they've decided to see red and say no, this red there, let's decide that it is yellow. No. See, now we are enlightened. We have woke up from the period of dark slumber.
Okay.
The Ghanaian society is awakened.
All right.
So they cannot come and throw dust into our eyes and say, Mahama wants to pack this thing, Mahama wants to take off CJ so that he will go. Lawyer,
let me take your submission on this.
Okay, so what we just watched from, I think, the MPP National Youth Organizer.
Yeah, National Organizer, Henry Danabashe.
You notice that it's just all about trying to incite people against the president. In fact, I was curious listening to him, just to be able to establish that there will be at least one point, at least a provision of the Constitution that will be clearly stated as having been violated by the president. He did not do that. And that's why I'm saying that I am very careful when I'm dealing with some of these matters, because you see, platforms like this are ideally for purposes of education.
Yes.
So that we tell...
Because you are separating propaganda from the facts.
And so if you are very careful in filtering this, you might end up mixing the two together, and you'll be misleading the general public. And that will be a great disservice you are doing to the ordinary Ghanaian citizens. And so that's why I'm saying that. And indeed, I actually expected him as a lawyer to have quoted a single provision that suggests, or that seeks to suggest, that the president has acted in gross violation of the Constitution. Indeed, that itself would have been a ground for even taking an action against the president, for acting in a manner that is expressly contrary to the provisions of the Constitution. You know, in itself, it's an offense.
Yes.
And so, and the way they are running quickly to the courts, if you have taken it over the period, I have no doubt that they would have rushed to the court to invoke such a provision against the president. They're
already in court. Vincent as a former member of parliament for Otafo is in court.
I'm saying on this matter. So let me distinguish it. It is not a case that they are in court to take an action against the president. For instance, to even initiate a process, say in parliament, by way of impeaching the president.
No, but they are in court to stop the president from proceeding further.
Yes,
and also to reverse that suspension of the Chief Justice.
So I'm saying that the distinction I'm making here is that knowing their position on matters like this and being quickly enough to get people out of office, I'm saying if there was any gross violation of any constitutional provision of the Constitution 1992, they would have triggered the processes of impeachment of the president.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where I'm coming to.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's just something entirely different from what he's going to court to do. As for going to court, you can go to court. Everybody, as long as you'll be able to pay your lawyers, pay for filing fees, legal fees, and all that, you can go. But the outcome is what is critical. Some also rush to court, just to be able to make a name, a good name for themselves. People want to be recorded in their good books, and some want to be captured by the apex court of the land, Supreme Court. So these are all factors that may influence people to go to court. But I'm saying that on the face of the law, there isn't anything so concrete in law to warrant somebody pursuing an action against the actions of the president in court. And that's what I'm saying. You see, we are dealing with a specific case of the Chief Justice of the land. And that it is for no reason that you find that the provisions to be religiously followed in the removal of any superior court justice is slightly different from that of the Chief Justice. Because ideally, if it were any other superior court justice, all these things would have been channeled through the Chief Justice. But because
just like President Akufo-Addo did in 2018 with the suspension of the 3 justices,
Paul
Utaderi and
Mustafa Habib. That process, remember, went to the Chief Justice.
Yes.
Because for them, it must go through the Chief Justice. And once the Chief Justice finds or determines a prima facie case, then the committee, so-called, will be properly constituted. But before she even makes that prima facie determination, the petition ought to be given to the president. And that's why they were saying that the president was just a conduit or a conveyor belt. And so it might necessarily go to him, and he is to deliver. He cannot decide to withhold it, because the action to be taken on that, in terms of making a determination on whether there's prima facie case, is not to be done by the president, but by Chief Justice. That's why it must go to him.
And that is the article on your screen, the one that talks about the removal of the Chief Justice, 146.
Exactly. Now this 146, that arm of it, that talks about the removal of the Chief Justice. You see that is slightly different from what is applicable to the other justices of the Supreme Court.
Yakubu.
And so you observe that the petition came to the president straight away. It didn't even need to go to the Chief Justice, because you are the subject matter of the petition in this case. So it cannot be handed to you.
Okay.
You cannot, in other words, be a judge in
your own court. Okay.
So that's why the president has a responsibility to do that in consultation. And you see, the framers of the Constitution were very deep in their thinking of the framing of the Constitution. In the case of removal of any justice of the Superior Court, the prima facie determination is done by the Chief Justice alone. But they recognize that in the case of the Chief Justice, the President may not even have the capacity to make the prima facie determination alone. That's why
the Council of State,
which is the Council of State, well constituted by men and women of wisdom, a certain level of experience. They have lived it all, they have seen it all. And so when it gets to them, it is for no reason that you have even a blend of persons of diverse backgrounds, including justices. In fact, former justices, especially Chief Justice.
And then you have former Speaker also being a member.
Blend. And these are all lawyers. And so in that sense, they will not be clothed with the legal reasoning to be able to determine whether there's a prima facie case for the Chief Justice to answer. And that's exactly what they have done. And that's why I'm saying that there has been the strictest compliance with the law to the latter. No single provision. And that's why I'll be excited to see somebody organizing people or inciting people to come and demonstrate, pointing to specific provisions of the Constitution.
Well,
that suggests violation.
Well, we'll see. Maybe on Monday they'll tell us the violation.
Well, for demonstration, and that's why nobody is worried about that. For demonstrations, they are a necessary part of our governance system.
Okay.
Even our laws allow that. You only do that to register your displeasure about something.
Yeah.
But it appears as though the abuse is becoming something so much of a worry.
All right.
Because it allows it. Anybody at all just hides under demonstration.
Okay.
And goes to do anything without
Okay.
But demonstrations ought to be justified.
Our time is up.
Yeah. Let me
time is up.
With,
So,
with the arrest. The arrest happened on I think November 14, 2023, during court hearing, a Supreme Court hearing. The ACP, Ayamga Yakubu Akorugo, right?
Yeah.
Yes. He said during the proceedings, she said a case was damning. He made that something was a damning comment, and she ordered his arrest, which was unconstitutional. It is even an abuse of her powers.
Okay, so that's how we wrap up this week's edition of Fact of the Week. As established, the President, John Dramani Mahama, has not breached any constitutional provision in the suspension of the Chief Justice, Gertrude Torkornoo, for that 5-member committee to go into that petition. My name is Valentina Ofori Afriyie. Fact of the Week is supported by Fairnats. Wood is for life. Great furniture is made by Fairnats, and also Aquaba Natural Mineral Water, quenching thirst and nourishing the nation with pure, clean, refreshing Aquaba Natural Mineral Water. Many thanks to my guests, Roger T.D. Wills, a researcher, financial analyst, and lawyer Sadat Harun Al-Hassan, private legal practitioner. Join us same time next Friday for another edition. In case you missed any part of the program, my CTV GH on Facebook, you can join. And also, you can watch it on Saturday at 11 a.m. Good night.